Welcome to the Recovered Life Show. You're tuned in to a new episode of Recovery This Week with your hosts, Damon Frank and Shauna McKenna-Vick.
I'm Damon Frank.
And I'm Shauna McKenna-Vick.
And this is Recovery This Week. How you doing, Shauna?
I'm doing well, Damon. I'm a little tired and I'm content. So you can hold two feelings at a time, and I'm sober. So it's a great day.
Your three things. Your three things today.
Three things today. Sober, content, and a little tired, which is normal when you're working so hard.
You know what? You're out there saving people, and we really appreciate you. And I'm so fortunate that we're able to have you on. We've got a short but phenomenal, I'm going to say it. I'm going to brag a little bit.
I agree.
Phenomenal episode today. We're talking about alcohol cravings. First, I want to give a quick shout out to all of the sober veterans out there. We're recording this on November 13th, and Monday was Veterans Day.
Yes, it was. And we honor the veterans, and we're grateful for their service. And do you know a lot of sober veterans? I know that mental health and alcoholism, we always hear about how veterans do suffer from that, but there are a lot of veterans who've actually work to heal, to do the work so that they can. There's a lot of sober veterans out there.
In LA, I have found, and also in San Francisco, where I got sober there, I know a lot of veterans that either work trying to help get people sober or have gotten sober. Usually one and the same. Usually the people that are helping people are sober. Yeah, absolutely. And we totally salute you. And, you know, a lot of people came back from wars that we've had with PTSD and alcoholism and drug addiction. And, you know, it's tough for them. And the suicide rate is tough. And, you know, our hearts go out to them. And, you know, thank you for your service for the men and women who have served here. You know what? Holidays are coming up, Shauna. I can't believe it. I'm already starting to Christmas shop.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I know. I don't want to make you feel bad.
Is that yeah, you will make me feel bad. Is that to get deals, or is it just because you're that well organized?
I'm trying to become more well organized in my sobriety as the years have gone on, so I could do that. But you know what's interesting is I've been noticing on TikTok and stuff, all this alcohol cravings, which, by the way, I always say Halloween is the kickoff
to the holidays.
Kickoff to the holidays, right? And now we're, you know, a week or two outside of Halloween, and we're creeping up on Thanksgiving. I already have the blow up turkey in my front yard.
So come on.
I'm gonna, you know, next episode.
Is that because you're a big turkey? Because you're a big turkey?
Yeah, because I'm a big turkey. All the little kids come by. You know, benefits of sobriety. You'll own 1.5 billion inflatables for your front yard. You know, hey. But let's jump into this. I want to talk about alcohol cravings. Look, a lot of people. I don't know about you. I had massive alcohol cravings. I've had alcohol cravings when I was trying to get sober, when I was using, and also, you know, years later, I've had alcohol cravings.
Well, that's interesting to me, Damon, that years later, you'll have to expand on that. Was it at a time when you might not have been working your program, or you might not have been as close to your higher power? Because years later, I haven't had alcohol cravings. Because a thought is not necessarily a craving either. You can have a thought of alcohol and it's not a craving.
You know what? I would like to say that the worst cravings I had when I got sober, and that's probably true if I was going to analyze it, but the really bad cravings I had, I was 13, 14 years sober.
Wow. Tell me about, so that's not a physical craving. That's like, because the alcohol's out of your system, you've changed your life. So what kind of craving is that you were getting it at 13, 14 years sober? Were you restless, irritable, and discontent, or what?
That is why I wanted to do this show, is because we have had, you know, a lot of people have cravings, and it's very misunderstood, right? And we're going to see a couple of videos that I found on TikTok that are all about cravings and all about, all about when you get them. But mine specifically was I wasn't working a program, but I've had them when I've worked a program. But I'm going to tell you this in general. I don't beat myself up if I ever have cravings. I immediately go to, it's my program, it's this, it's that. I don't. And the reason I don't is because I'm an alcoholic, and that's what alcoholics do. They have cravings for alcohol. Now, not all the time. I don't, I haven't in a long time. But definitely don't beat myself up if I do have cravings.
No. And I think, I guess maybe it's semantics, Damon. Like, you can have thoughts of alcohol, and then if you spend time thinking about them and then romanticizing them and then feeling them, and then you get the dopamine hit, even from thinking about it or experiencing, you feel that letdown of the neurotransmitter chemicals, and it creates a craving. But a thought is not a craving. A thought of, oh, I'd like a drink, or there's a martini up there on that show, and that's a thought of alcohol. It's when we take it in. Well, for me, this is my opinion. I'm not a doctor or whatever, but I know we don't have physical cravings past a certain point, like actual chemical cravings. We might.
Is that true though? Yes, yes, because when it was in your system and you're withdrawing, those are different kind of cravings. But
physical,
look, one of the things I learned through 12 steps, specifically the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, about me, what I learned about me, and my opinion is that, alcoholism is spiritual. It's also physical. Okay, and it's also mental.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of things going on. And I want to show you this because we're not the only people that have suffered, especially that first the first 3 months with cravings, brutal, tough.
Yeah. So let's see. So I love the new format. We're going to take a look at these videos, and then we're going to chit chat about them. I love it. I think that's going to be fantastic.
I want to show you this first one that I found on TikTok, and I'd love your thoughts on this.
And then Wednesday, things seem to go downhill.
Actually, let me start this over.
My alcohol cravings have been really bad the last couple of days. So I haven't been on here because I've just been trying to stay focused and take care of myself. Monday I had a really good day. And then Wednesday, things seemed to go downhill. I had therapy and I talked to my therapist about it. I actually told her that rehab kind of sounded tempting. I know that's really, really weird to say, but I don't know, I'm just kind of in a weird place in my life right now, and so I kind of was feeling like running away and going somewhere for a month would be nice. And that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years, so I'm just kind of used to it, I guess. I basically have been staying in bed. I feel like staying in bed is the only way to keep myself from running to the gas station. So yesterday I stayed in bed almost all day.
Okay, I know you have comments about this.
I mean, I don't even know where to start. First of all, did she say that she's been going into rehabs for 4 years?
I think so. And look, I don't want to put that on her. And this is only just,
I know. Yeah. No, I was just trying to understand.
Running away.
Okay. If I heard it.
Rehab. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So some people like to go to rehab to reset, and they become addicted to rehab, and, they don't take in a lot of the stuff that's there. They just see it as a vacation. And yet I was going to say, one of the things about cravings for me was I always had to be physically separated from the alcohol, whether it be at a detox center or at a rehab. It's just how it was for me. So I get that part, but it's really disheartening to hear that, she hasn't learned distress tolerance skills or distraction or taken the tools that she's learned. She's just laying in bed. change a thought, move a muscle, change a thought. If you're laying in bed and just ruminating on these cravings and how you feel and how you think you have to stay in bed to avoid the gas station, call a friend, go for a walk. See, that's where a 12-step program or a community recovery, Dharma or whatever you choose, but a program of recovery, or maybe even she could do an intensive outpatient program where there is community, talking to her therapist and just saying, this is how I'm feeling. That's not a lot of solutions there, right? Just to say, this is how I'm feeling. I feel like crap. If I keep telling myself I feel like crap or I feel like drinking, then I'm probably going to go to drink.
Yeah. I think the big thing is the really red flag that I saw, and, part of how alcohol cravings, Shauna, I believe, is to identify what is a red flag. Right. So you don't end up relapsing. That's really what it's about. Right. So in recovery, you're learning, because if I relapsed every time I had a craving, oh my gosh, I would have never gotten sober. I had a lot of cravings that were really, really bad. So I think this isolation thing that she brings out, now she does say later that she went to a lot of meetings and all this other stuff, but
that's good.
During this period of time, isolating, I think that is a red flag. I think isolation separates you from the solution.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be able to, and you have to be humble enough to call someone and say just what you said at the beginning of the show, not beat yourself up about it, right? Call someone and say, I had a few thoughts of alcohol and they don't seem to be leaving me. Can we talk about it, or can we talk about something else? Or what have you done when you've had thoughts of alcohol? Like move a muscle, change a thought. Maybe she's tired. Is she hungry, angry? What is it? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. She's lonely, right?
Yeah.
And exactly. I told you, I started this show today. I'm really, really tired. I was on a plane yesterday, and the stewardess or the flight attendant was going by, and she opened the bottom drawer when she was just in front of me, and it was all full of the alcohol bottles, right? And I just kept looking. And I had a thought, if I had one, no one would know. Well, I would never stop at one, so I could never have one and no one would know. But there's a thought that wasn't necessarily craving, but if I sat there in my seat going, no one would know. Maybe I should just have one. I think it would be okay to have one. That would turn into a craving, because you start to get, your body actually will release dopamine, and it will hit before you actually take a drink of alcohol. So you can pull up to the liquor store and you already feel that, because your body has responded to it. So if you're noodling on or ruminating on this craving or these thoughts and how good it would feel, you're telling your body that this is it, and you will end up with a physical craving.
Exactly. And this is what I'm talking about. Even in sobriety, you could have a physical, because it is, looking for that dopamine hit. And there's something going on, look, there's been a lot of investigation into sugar. I'm a big proponent of sugar in early sobriety.
Right.
But as you go through sobriety, I've found that sugar actually can be a hindrance in emotional sobriety, because you're running away
up and down
instead of dealing with it, right? You're using something. I'm curious to see your thoughts on this next video. I picked this one out. I think you're going to like this. So I think that what we got from the first one was don't isolate. Isolating is bad. Yeah. That's going to kill you.
And move a muscle, change a thought.
Right.
Do 10 jumping jacks.
Yes, exactly. Let's jump into
I'm almost a year sober, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I don't know how to handle these feelings, because not that sobriety's been easy, because it hasn't, but I've been able to get through my cravings, and this is really hard. Maybe it's the holidays and traveling, I'm in a hotel right now, but it's not going away. And for some reason, that's actually good. For some reason, my thought pattern is it would be so easy to buy a bottle. So this sucks. I hate it, because it's not a breakdown down. Like, it's not like I'm having a really bad day and want to cope. It's like I'm living my normal life like I used to do, and just craving alcohol throughout. And that's a lot harder. But I'm a strong fucking bitch. I'm not gonna drink. This is just like a new feeling for me, and I needed to talk through it. My 1-year sobriety date is coming up. I'm gonna be in Bali for it, which is very full circle. If you know, you know. So I'm just gonna buckle up and hold the fuck on.
What do you think of that? That's a good one, huh?
Well, I'm proud of her. She says she's going to buckle up and hold on. You know, she is going to actually use willpower for that. We don't have a lot of willpower, but when you have had a year and you know that you have made it through a craving before, you can make it through this one. And look, she's getting she made herself a nice coffee that felt good. Oh, this tastes good, right? So she is definitely, doing a couple of the right things and talking it out. What would be good is if she talked it out with someone. I hope she has a support group, because she's alone in a hotel. I mean, comes back to the isolation, Damon. Back to the isolation, right?
No, that's absolutely it. And, one of the things that I got through this, and I experienced this the other day because I've been working a lot, and, Christmas time is a very busy time in my business and stuff. And what's happened is I haven't gone outside as much as I normally do. And yesterday I was out barbecuing something because they're still warm enough to barbecue. And I looked up and these clouds were going. And this reminded me, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this particular episode is because it reminded me when I was in early sobriety, I had horrible cravings. And I was tortured. I was somebody who was tortured by my thoughts. I was just tortured.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is my sponsor would have me come out in San Francisco. There's a lot of wind and clouds. I would sit and watch clouds, and he would make me assign a thought to a cloud, and he would watch that cloud leave. And he was training me for long-term sobriety, that these are just thoughts. They will pass. They will pass. And that's what I got from this too, is like, you know what? They're gonna pass.
Yes, they're going to pass.
If you hold on, and this is a good, like they say, willpower. This is a good, I think, flexing use of willpower is to understand that it is going to pass, that it will pass, that everything is going to be okay.
And it does pass. And if we have longtime listeners, they've heard me say this before. And I just did it this morning. I walked from my office to the kitchen, past the living room, and I've been traveling for 3 weeks. So there's a huge bunch of dust bunnies, right? And I thought, man, I have got to get that vacuum cleaner out. But guess what? I didn't act on it, Damon. I didn't have to take the action of going. I probably should have. But it's the same with a craving or a thought. The thought comes in, it's going to come in, and it can go out. You don't have to pick up a drink, and you don't have to pick up the vacuum cleaner.
Yep. Craving thoughts are like clouds. They will pass. Clouds always pass.
I really like that.
They always pass. And you know what? We're going to come up after this break. We have one more video, and I guarantee you, I can almost guarantee you that you've been in this situation in recovery, a similar situation. Hold tight, guys. If you have a problem being around alcohol when you're having cravings, because the next video you're going to love, we're going to take a quick little commercial break here.
Okay.
And I'd like to remind everybody, join Recovered Life TV. It's recoveredlife.tv. You can connect with Shauna McKenna-Vick, myself. There's a ton of content on anything you're going through at Recovered Life TV. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back.
Step out of the shadows into the light. Find your tomorrow, start the fight. Recovered Life TV, see the change. Living your best life, it's within reach. Visit recoveredlife.tv today.
You're listening to The Recovered Life Show, the show that helps people in recovery live their best recovered lives.
And we're back. We're talking about how to handle alcohol cravings. Shauna McKenna Vick is with us today. It's another Recovery This Week. Shauna, we've been talking all about this alcohol cravings, how horrible they feel, how to survive. Holidays are coming up. Any thoughts here before we jump into this last video?
Well, let's just remember what we've already talked about. Isolate. Don't isolate. Phone a friend, right? Phone a friend, go to a meeting, get some community around you, talk about it, audibly say it, get it out so you're not harboring the feelings, and don't ruminate on it and believe that it will pass. Look at the clouds. I love that. So, okay, let's see what the next one comes. I love that. Look at the clouds. I look at the birds.
This last one, I have been in this situation more than once. I'm embarrassed to say. More than once, I have been in this situation for whatever reason survived. But here we go. I'd love your thoughts on this one.
It's 10 o'clock at night right now. Earlier today, I went and bought alcohol. It wasn't for me. It was just because I'm having a party tomorrow. If you don't know, I struggled with addiction for like the last 4 years. I've been sober for 8 months, and I've, been around alcohol. I've been to parties, to bars. And I had a friend over earlier, and he was like drinking tequila, which not a big deal. But then he left, and I was alone in my apartment with an open bottle of tequila. And it was the first time in 8 months that I've been alone with alcohol, and that is how I used to drink, is just alone in my apartment. And it hit me so hard. I could just drink. I could take a couple shots and no one would know. And I had to call my neighbor, and he came and took all the alcohol out of my house. But this tonight has probably been my lowest point in my sobriety. And I just wanted to share because I said that I would share the highs and the lows, and that's what I've done. I think it's just hard because I felt like 8 months in, I wouldn't have these kind of nights, and that's just rough. Sobriety is hard.
All right. I knew you'd like that one.
I got lots to say about that. I mean, good for her. And thank goodness we saw her coming up on her year. So we know she made it through that night and made it through that rough time. So that's awesome. I am pretty strict when it came to that in early sobriety. If you want to come over and you want to drink, bring your alcohol and take it back with you. I don't buy it. Now I never go to the store to purchase the alcohol because we talked about this. I can get the dopamine hit from just before I even go and buy the alcohol, right? So, or as I'm buying it, I don't want anything to do with it. I'll say to my husband, if we're having people over, you can get what you need and you can serve it, right? I'm not afraid to touch it. Now in my business, Damon, I actually have to pour out alcohol. If I'm taking someone or doing a companion job, I have to take their alcohol and pour it out. So I'm around alcohol a lot. And one of the things we talk about in the 12-step program is this allergy to alcohol. If I take it in, then something happens within me. So I'm also allergic to ibuprofen. I will go anaphylactic if I take ibuprofen. So it's the same for me. So that's how I see alcohol. So I don't want to take it in. But so I've done a lot on that. But I feel bad for her. I don't think at 8 months purchasing alcohol to serve at a party really is part of who she is in her authentic self. She's chosen to live sober. She can be around people. It sounds like she's around people that are drinkers. I think as protection, to ask people to bring their own alcohol and take it with them when they go is probably a really solid plan.
You know what? I agree. And I think the big takeaway from this, and God bless this person, and I'm glad they made it through, and we can learn from this, right? That's why I want to show these videos. We can learn. One of the things that I got from this that really reminded me is that you have to be able to be honest with yourself. And if we're really going to be honest, if you're under the first year going and buying alcohol, storing alcohol in your house, your gauge, or what I call your sobriety meter of how to read yourself, isn't there. And even today, look, I'm over 3 decades sober. And I will tell you, even today, there are times where I don't want to be around alcohol if I feel that my break buffer is bad. So the only way that I would recommend anyone doing that would be if somebody else in the household locked up that alcohol and was in control of it. They were hosting the party and removing it. you're not involved with it. It's just too big of a risk. And here's the thing that I always say, and I've said this to people I'm working with, Sean, all the time. If your friends think poorly of you because you can't host the party with alcohol, they're not your friggin' friends. They're not friends. Friends don't want you to die. Friends don't want you to die. Enemies want you to die.
Yeah. I have a client. We did an intervention on a family and with the family for someone, and they've decided to have a sober Thanksgiving, and they don't even, the person who, you know, was the original intervention isn't there, has decided not to come to Thanksgiving. And regardless, they as a family want to, for themselves, see what a sober family holiday looks like, because they have 22-year-olds, 24-year-olds, and they want to say, hey, listen, we don't always have to have alcohol around every single celebration.
Hard lesson. You know what? That takes families a long time. That took my family a long time, right? To be able to do that. Because if you have generations of alcoholism, or it's just steeped into the culture, oh, now we take a shot then, or we all have beers at this time and Bloody Marys at this time, right? Like it's built into the trend, you know, the whole tradition of your life. People don't realize this until they've gotten sober. One of the things I wanted to applaud this young lady for, which I thought was amazing at 8 months, is that she knew to go get someone else, was honest with them. We don't know if that person was in the program, probably not.
No, it's a neighbor. She said it was a neighbor. Yeah.
Wow, that is a huge skill. And like, if we could take anything, like, she knew that she was redlining in that gauge. The key though is to make sure you have enough break buffer pad, so you're not in the place where you're right on the metal to metal, right?
Right. No, I applaud her so much, because it would have been so easy for her just to take a couple shots and she would have been on a run. And who knows if she has another recovery in her, right? We've talked about, we might have another relapse in us, but I don't have another recovery. I've used all my lives up, and who knows if she could have gotten it back, but that she had the fortitude, even when she was crying and struggling so bad, to be able to be honest. So she's done some work. She has obviously done some good work.
Absolutely, she has, and thrilled that she got out of that one. And, you know, guys, thinking about you too, if you're at that place where you don't feel you have that brake pad for the holidays, start doing the work now. You know, buffering people, having people around you as your own sober companion. You could go hire a sober companion, or somebody like, you know, Shauna, who's fabulous. And I think for a lot of people, that is the first video. I would definitely recommend that. But a lot of times people can just build their own companions to buffer these hard situations.
Hey, you can have a good friend who says, I can take or leave alcohol. I'll not drink beside you through this. Like, I would hope people would have friends who can say that. If not, then they might have a disordered relationship with alcohol too. And, you know, that makes me sad that there's so many people that might say, well, I don't have a problem, but I'm not going to give it up or be there. You want to have a dear friend who says, you know, it's no big deal. Like my husband, when I would come back from rehab and all through the time I was struggling, he kept alcohol out of the house. He didn't drink for months just to support me. And I really appreciated that.
You know what? It is so good to have people like that in your life. You have to build a life around being able to stay sober. And if you're in a situation where you don't feel day to day, you could feel sober, to stay sober and be happy. What's going to happen is that eventually it's going to put you in a bad situation. And the whole key with recovery is not to living your best recovered life is not to be in bad situations all the time.
Right.
Yes, it'll happen. It's going to happen. Somebody's going to offer you a drink. You know, we're going to do a whole episode about office parties, because I think that's a classic one where a lot of people relapse. But this was good. Hey, this was good. This was fun. I got a lot out of this.
Well, I got a lot out of it. I did. And, you know, and it's great perspective and a great reminder too. And I do want to say this, Damon, there are lots of sober living houses for people. If you're in a bad situation or you're around people, your flatmates all drink, and you just, you know, it's just, you're having a hard time, you can't. There are sober living houses where you can go pay rent and it's not clinical or anything. It's just sober support housing. So it's something to look into for sure.
Absolutely, guys. This has been a phenomenal episode. Thank you so much, Shauna, for coming on another Recovery This Week in the Can. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Recovered Life TV, give us a like, give us a follow, join us at Recovered Life TV, join the conversation. It's not great recovery unless you're interacting.
That's right. That's right. And because I have to show you my sweatshirt, we're hope dealers. We're hope dealers. So that's what we're doing. Okay. I'll have a great week, Damon. I can't wait for next week.
You too. Everybody go out and live your best recovered life. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Hey, if you like this episode, think about supporting us by becoming a Recovered Life Plus member. At Recovered Life TV, we're not just delivering premium recovery resources, we're empowering you with the knowledge and tools that make a real difference in the quality of your recovery. By subscribing, you gain access to ad-free content, expert insights, exclusive video and audio segments, special projects, plus so much more, all while supporting our mission to spread the recovery message far and wide. Whether you're seeking to deepen your understanding or stay updated on the latest addiction and mental health recovery trends, Recovered Life Plus is for you. Subscribe now and start living your best recovered life. Just go to recoveredlife.tv and become a Plus member today.